Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here, taking a first look and a first impressions at Nami. We're going to be going through the star powers, champion level, starting deck, and what relics we think might work pretty well. So if you enjoyed that, definitely like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Star powers, when you play a spell, gain 1 spell mana. Now I believe this is the same effect we actually had on the weekly adventure, the 1.5, and it is very strong after playing with it in there. We'll have to see if her starting deck really supports it, but playing a lot of cheap spells and constantly getting that spell mana, that'll be really strong, especially for Nami. Her level up is you've gained 8 or more spell mana, so being able to refill your spell mana manually, this should help you level up quite quickly. For your 2-star, +1 starting mana, and then game start, draw a spell. In my opinion, this seems very mediocre. Like, I think this should be round to start. Draw a spell. Like, you're going to be playing tons of spells, so having your entire 2-star just be draw 1 spell, that seems pretty terrible. Like, let's compare this to LeBlanc. LeBlanc, her 2-star, every time you attack, if you've leveled up, summon a attacking ephemeral LeBlanc. Absolutely amazing, game-changing star power. And then for Nami, it's draw a spell. Just 1. Like, this seems terrible to me. I'm hoping that this is wrong and that it's actually round to start. Otherwise, like, if it's round start, draw a spell, then it's fine. Then it's not crazy. Like, it's a worse version of Varus. Because, yeah, let's also just think about Varus. Let's actually go and read out his second star power. So, Varus, +1 starting mana. Round start, reduce the cost of a spell in your deck by 1, then create an exact fleeting copy of it in hand. So, every single round, you're not only reducing the cost of spells in your deck, you're also drawing exact copy of it, and yes, that copy is fleeting, but let's compare that, where every single round you're reducing this cost of a spell and you're creating a copy of it, to game start, draw 1 spell. Like, even if it is round start, draw a spell, it's still a much worse version than, like, Varus is. I don't really know what they're thinking with this. Like, I really have to hope that this is wrong and that they just screwed up. Because even if it's round start, draw a spell, it's somewhat mediocre. Like, it's fine, it's passable. But just game start, draw a spell, this is laughably terrible. Like, this is awful. But hopefully this is incorrect and it's round start. Even then, not great, but this is so bad. Now, for your 3-star, it's probably when you play a spell, gain either 1 mana, so not just spell mana, but actual just normal mana you can use to play units as well, or it's just gain 2 spell mana. I mean, or they have to do something absolutely insane for your 3-star to make up for how bad your 2-star is. Yeah, this is really already very much a mixed bag. Like, this is a strong level 1 star power. Like, this is solid, but that 2-star is terrible. All right, let's take a look at the champion or the starting deck. So auto post, when I'm summoned, create a prank in hand. This prank, you get to see 2 cards for the enemy, so that's really strong, and then you prank them either by, like, increasing the cost or making them have reduced power or health or can't block, something like that. A pretty strong card. I'm pretty sure this is also in the Vagar deck, so again, a little sad that we're getting reused cards. Ransom Riches, manifest a follower you can afford at burst speed, so not bad, especially since you're going to be able to play this essentially for free. Answered Prayer, so this is the same thing as Alawi, spawn 2 and then spend or spend 5 mana to spawn 4 instead. It's fine, but I don't know why this is in a Nami deck. Like, thematically it doesn't really fit at all. Like, I get that they're both Bilgewater, but I feel like there's probably something better. Coral Creatures, when I'm summoned, create a random 1-cost spell from your region. Yeah, not surprised this fits, at least thematically for Nami, but I think this was also in, like, the Varus deck. But at least this one fits, has the attune, it works well for Nami. Nami herself at 3. Abyssal Guard, when you play a spell, give me 2 power this round. So this is really strong. We'll have to see if they give you something like Overwhelm. This would be really good, or if they gave you like Elusive, but I don't think they've ever done that before as a champion level up item. But yeah, something to be able to punch through and hit the enemy nexus. This could be really good. Eye of Nagakane Boros. Again, this is a Alawi card. It's a good card. Spawn 2, draw 2. It's a bit expensive, but it's fine. But again, why are you putting a bunch of Alawi cards in the Nami deck? I don't know. Minimorph, transform a unit into a 3/3 Minity and silence it. Kind of getting sick of seeing this card, to be honest. So it was in the Bard deck, it was in the Yumi deck, now in the Nami deck. Can we please get some other cards? Like, you can't even make the excuse that it's in the same region, because it's not. So, like, we just saw Thresh. Thresh has Vengeance for 6-cost spell, and that just kills a unit. Like, yes, this is burst speed, but normally the enemy doesn't really react to your spells anyways quite often. This just seems bad and we already have this for 2 other decks, and in those decks it's also pretty bad, so that's annoying. Alright, we have Wiggly Burblefish. So elusive, very nice. I cost 1 less for each spell you've played this game. When I'm summoned, create in hand a random 1 cost spell from your regions. This is going to be great. For 1, it's elusive, so after the first round or 2, you'll probably be able to play this, so that'll be great. And then it's also, yeah, giving you a random 1 cost spell. Overall, pretty good unit. Also fits with Nami. This deck has some good cards in there. Really not sure about other ones. Like, I have no idea why is Minimorph here. I don't, like, there's got to be a better option than putting Minimorph in the third spell. Like, I get Minimorph for both Bard and Yumi because I think their region is like Bandle City, or like Bard's World Walker, but most of his cards are Bandle City. So it makes sense that, oh, they wanted to put it for something in the region, but this isn't in Nami's region. Like, you can say that that's why Answered Prayer and Eye of Nagake Boros are in there, because they're all Bilgewater. I don't really like that they're in here, but you can at least say, oh, they wanted to keep it in the region. But then why the hell is this in here? Ugh. Alright, let's take a look at the champion levels. Coral Creatures gets Skirmisher's Saber. Yep, that's fine. I think most decks start off with giving someone Challenger. Abyssal Guard gets Ancient Coins. It goes down to a 3 cost. Pretty nice. Why? So this is Nami's champion spell, but this is not in her starter deck at all. Alright, so first off, I don't think we've seen this before, so that's cool, at least, the fact of it's making these spells burst speed. So that means the opponent can't apply to them, and that means you can also do something else with your turn. You don't have to commit your whole turn to playing one of these spells. So that's great, but this is buffing up and adding an item to a card that's not in your deck. If you have multiple Namis and you have a Nami on the board, then yes, it will transform into that card, but this is still buffing up a card that's not in your deck. Where did it go? Here. So we've seen this before somewhat with Ornn. Ornn had a card in his champion level ups that added an item to a card that wasn't in his deck. Now that card wasn't his champion level up, so wasn't his champion spell, so you knew it was 100% not supposed to be there. But this doesn't really make sense. Like, maybe what they did is they screwed up Answered Prayer and they put this in here when it's not supposed to be, and this is supposed to be Ebb and Flow instead. Either way, it's not looking good. Like, this will really incentivize you using Grand General's counterplan, because then if you have Nami on the board, she'll be creating these cards. But yeah, that's honestly, it just seems like Nami they might have fucked up with, which isn't great when there's only 2 champions and this is the state they're in. Alright, moving on, I guess. Ransom Riches gets Hand Sensor. Fine, I guess. Minimorph gets Hextech Fabricator. Why? So Minimorph, normally what you're doing is you're holding it in your hand and you're waiting until you need to use it on, some big unit the enemy has, which means you're not playing it very often. Like, it costs 6 mana. Like, its cost hasn't been reduced by anything, so it's not cheap to use, so you don't want to be using it very often, but Hextech Fabricator is essentially making you want to use this as often as possible so you can keep granting your units items. Like, this is like one of the dumbest things you could put on Minimorph, so I'm annoyed we have Minimorph, and then they just made it worse. They're not even reducing its cost at all, so don't know why they're doing that. Answered Prayer gets Hero's Horn. So, well, for one, if we take a look at Answered Prayer, like, this is exactly what Alawi has. Alawi has Answered Prayer with Hero's Horn. Normally, if they use the same card in 2 different decks, they'll at least give them different items. But here they're using the exact same card with the exact same item. So that's confusing. And if Answered Prayer is not supposed to be in here and it's supposed to be the Ebb and Flow we saw before, then that means it's even more of a screw up when they're giving this an item. Like, I don't know what's going on with this deck. Yeah, this isn't a bad thing to have Hero's Horn on Answered Prayer, but they're just blatantly copying it from Alawi, and then I don't even know if Answered Prayer is supposed to be here or if it's supposed to be Ebb and Flow. Like, I don't know what's happening with this deck. So Wiggly Burblefish gets Phage. Okay, this is finally something that's good. So an elusive unit you're going to be playing for pretty cheap, and it's going to have 4 power and 3 health. Like, this is going to be a very solid unit. So finally an upgrade that's actually good. Alright, Eye of Nagake Boros gets Ardent Sensor. Grant the top ally in your deck 3/3. Again, this isn't necessarily great. Normally on Ardent Sensor, you're wanting to have it on a card you're playing a decent amount of the time so that you're consistently buffing up your top deck. But this is a 5 cost spell. It's a while before you can play this, and even then you're normally not playing this very often. Like, normally I only play this if I need the extra draw. Like, it's pretty inefficient. Normally I'd rather play 2 other spells or 2 other cards than play the eye. Not really too happy with that, to be honest. Autopus gets Shadow Totem. That's really good. So it's going to creating 2 cards, but then it's also going to create 2 pranks. Yeah, this is another good card, but this is like 3 blues in a row? 3 rare items? I feel like Thresh didn't have that many rare items. So Abyssal Guard gets Great Club. This is really, really good. Abyssal Guard, you're going to be able to scale this unit up very, very heavily in some rounds, so using him to end the game. And remember, he also got 1 cost reduction from another item, so this is actually another really good item. And Coral Creatures get Studded Leather, so just making them a little bit stronger. But I do wonder, so we have 1 rare item, another rare item, and another rare item. And so we have 4 rare items right now. This one doesn't even, like, this is in its own tier. Like, we've never seen this before. All right, I'm gonna go check out Thresh, actually. I was thinking when I was looking at the Thresh level ups that there really wasn't many rare items. All right, so I just looked through the entire Thresh level up. He has Savage Shield on one, so there's a rare, and he has a Farsight on another. So he has 2 rare items, all of his upgrades. For Nami, I believe I said she had, what, 4? I thought they tried to be consistent with their level ups. Why do they give one champion like 4 rare level ups and they give another one only 2? Like, that's why Thresh, his champion level ups kind of felt just fine, is most of them were all just commons. And so it's like, okay, that's good, but nothing really stands out as amazing. Like, this one is, yeah, this one's good. Same with the Savage Shield. But why does Thresh have 2 and Nami have like 4? So just counting again to make sure I'm not crazy. We have Stopwatch, which is making spells burst, which is its own tier essentially. Hero's Horn, Phage, Ardent Censer. So yeah, 4 rares and then 1 thing that's essentially like at least a rare, if not higher. What is going on? All right, I'm just going to move on to the relics for now. So Nami getting Archangel Staff. This is going to be very, very good for you because obviously you're going to be wanting to use spells all the time. Chemtech Duplicator, you're probably going to hit the 6 mana, so getting to that point where all your spells are suddenly doubled. This will be very, very strong. Dreadway Chase Gun actually be decent because you'll get 2 free spells, but each one of these spells going off is going to give you that extra spell mana. This actually wouldn't be too bad. Hymn of Valor, making a 3-cost Redoubled Valor. It'd be okay. I'm not really too hot on Redoubled Valor. Like, I know it works well, but kind of a boring playstyle in my opinion. The Grand General's Counterplan, this will also be very good. So we talked about this before, but it's going to create another Fleeting Nami in hand, which then is going to transform into her champion spell. So you're going to be able to play an Ebb. That's going to then transform into a Flow. And then that, excuse me, I had to cough there. And then that's going to turn into an Ebb and Flow. All of these, even though they cost 2, they're all going to refund 1 spell mana. So you're all going to be able to play all of them for 1 mana. And then if you have an Archangels, that means you're going to get the 3 spell mana. So you'll at least be able to play all 3 of these every single round, which will be pretty crazy. So Grand General's Counterplan and then Archangels is probably what I'm going to run with as soon as I can. Also something like Lost Chapter will be pretty good. Play Nami, get your spell mana. It'll be essentially half of your quest or half of your level up already done. Also Banshee's Veil to keep her on the board. Not bad. Alright, just to wrap this all up, I don't know what is going on with Nami. Not sure what's going on with her champion level ups. The fact that she has so many rares blows me away. The fact that she has so many rares and yet her champion level ups, half of them still are terrible. I didn't realize before that it was this unbalanced with some champions get a whole bunch of rare upgrades or items on their cards, then other ones not getting it. I don't know why they're buffing up Ebb and Flow when it's not even a card in your starter deck. I don't know why they copied so many cards from Alawi. No idea why Minimorph is here. Like, this is somewhat a disaster. Oh right, her star powers. The first star power is great, so the third one's probably going to be great as well. The second one is like debatably like the worst second star power in the game. Like, I would rather have the Nasus star power of every round you're reducing the power of an enemy unit. I would rather have that than just game start draw a spell. The crazy thing is though, I think Nami's actually going to be pretty strong. I think being able to play Nami for 3 mana, throw an Archangel Staff and a counterplan on her, I think she's going to be pretty good. Abyssal Guard, this is going to be a 3 cost. With also Overwhelm. You're going to have a strong elusive that you can play for pretty cheap. Even though I have no idea what they're doing with Nami and some of their decisions that they've made, I still think she's probably going to be strong. It's not going to be a situation with like Nasus where he has a lot of issues and because of that he's pretty weak. I think Nami's going to be alright, but she could have been amazing. If they just slightly tweaked some of these things, she could be absolutely amazing. I think she'll still be fine. She'll be pretty good even. I have no idea what they were thinking with some of some of these decisions. I thought since we were getting 2 champions, I was like, okay, it's not that many, it's just 2. I'm happy we're getting the champions, that it's not an expansion, but this kind of worries me. Like the fact that the last time we got champions, half of them were bugged. Aatrox, his star powers, they had completely the wrong icons. For Pike, his star powers, they say were bugged. The relic or the item you get wasn't supposed to stack up on units. And then Nasus was really bugged, so 3 of the 6 champions came out bugged. And now we take a look at Nami, and maybe she's not bugged, maybe all the decisions they've made were intentional. If that's the case, I think a lot of the decisions are very stupid. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be doing a leveling video for Nami that'll probably come out tomorrow. I'm also going to be doing a guide for Nami. If you're interested in that, like and subscribe. I hope you have a great day.